We need to have a conversation after, just briefly.
Yeah, we can do that as well. Let's have this conversation first.
What, on camera?
Mm-hmm.
Go. So, we have been skirting around things
Yeah.
for 5.5 seasons now.
Amazing.
And I think it's about time we talked about divorce.
Ooh.
Now, I, touch wood, am not divorced and have never been divorced. I've had breakups after 10, 12 years.
Ooh. Yeah.
Where things had to be separated. But what actually happened was we split up, I didn't give a shit, and I was on drugs.
Okay. Yeah.
And then everything just disappeared.
Well,
So,
there's a coping mechanism there.
yeah, I mean, the coping mechanism there was not healthy, shall we say. Okay, so, look, divorce is more than a breakup, right?
Yeah.
So divorce is like complete life change.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Okay. So you sadly have been divorced.
I have, yeah.
Right. And I'll say this now to camera. We're not here to bash anyone. We're not here to make anyone look bad or say things that aren't true. But what we are here to look at is it's in the name, Coffee and Coping, right?
Yeah.
Which is the name of my charity.
Yeah.
I've done it again. That's the second fucking time. So we need to change the name of something. So 50 and Coping is about finding coping mechanisms.
Yes,
and
indeed.
as you have been divorced
Yes.
and currently are married to somebody else,
Yes, indeed.
there are two things involved in that. One, you have been through this process. And two, you've come out the other side and, and done it again.
And flourished, some might
Yeah,
say.
flourished in the marriage, not done the divorce again.
Yeah.
Okay. For
Yeah, I've
clarity.
done it better the second time round.
I did divorce better the second time round. Fourth and fifth time, no, got a bit old. Anyway, I'd like to kind of throw it over to you and go, come on then.
Yeah.
Expert.
Well, I guess, as you've said, the point of 50 and Coping, or indeed Coffee and Coping, is for us to try and help people cope with certain scenarios.
Yeah.
And quite conveniently and coincidentally, a guy at work is just about to go through divorce, and he's reached out to me and asked various questions about how he should handle it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did he reach out to you because he knows you've been divorced or because of what we do?
Probably a bit of both. He knows that I do the podcast. He knows that I've got kind of a toe in the mental health arena. Excuse me. But I think more importantly, he knows that I've been through divorce, and I went through the mill a bit because of it, or a lot because of it.
Yep.
But I think quite clearly to most people that know me, come out the other side and got through it, I guess.
Having known you as long as I have, you were divorced by the time I met you, obviously.
It wasn't actually final, but obviously separated and everything, yeah.
But you have changed immeasurably.
Yeah.
So you are fundamentally, values-wise, you're the same human being and all of that, but you've managed to come back out of yourself and flourish in life. Yeah. And obviously, I'd like to look at, first of all, can we kind of start at the beginning?
Yeah.
So not necessarily you, but things. What do you feel? Who are you when you've suddenly had this life-changing thing put upon you?
Well, I think like so many things, and I think the cause of so many people's mental health problems is you feel completely alone, right? You feel, oh my God, I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I don't know where to go. I don't know what. But you also feel, I think, as a man, that that you should be able to cope straight away, and you should know how to deal with this. And like lots of things, whether it's grief, whether it's divorce, redundancy, whatever it is, you sort of feel like, well, no one's going to understand. No one's been through this before. Right. Subconsciously. I don't think you stop and go, well, no one's going to help me, are they? But I think you feel a bit helpless, and and I don't think anybody, the divorcer or the divorcee, I don't think anybody really understands what a massive impact it has on absolutely everything. It is complete and utter life change.
Yeah, I think that's important. So the first key thing is, look, it's not like a breakup. It's not the girlfriend thing.
No.
This is every single part of your life, especially if you have children, has to change.
Yeah, and it's trying to manage that as best the both of you can without... And there's various things. I've written a few things down earlier because I just thought I'd try and prepare a little bit. Whether I'll refer to that or not, I don't know. But there's a few sort of, I guess, nuggets in there of what I would advise people should try.
Sorry. Apparently the word nuggets makes me laugh. I've no idea why, sorry.
I used a different term earlier and that was inappropriate too, but let's see. So there's certain things that I've said to this guy at work, which are, try not to look at it from a perspective of winning, right?
Yeah.
It's not about, it's like we've said with, social media posts and stuff. It's not about being right. It's not about being victorious.
No.
It's about coming out of it as undamaged as possible, I guess,
on both sides. As you can
on both sides, because it is so devastating. From the person that's prompted that divorce or prompted that separation, they knew it was coming, right? And a lot of us, I guess, when that happens on the receiving side of it, you kind of think, well, yeah, I probably should have seen that coming, because things aren't quite right and you've got suspicions and all that stuff. But even so, I guess a bit like when you've got a parent that is reaching end of life and they die, it's like a ton of bricks and you just don't know what to do, right? So first thing, as a point of advice to try and get through it is try, and it's so difficult, try to sort of detach from it a little bit emotionally and try to deal with it as practically as you can, with as little anger and bitterness as you can. And that is, really, really difficult to do. And I didn't do a great job of it, I have to admit. But that's the first thing. And then I guess there's loads of other those. Can I just explore those as a
right? Can I put forward that you're going to have that emotional cycle?
Yeah.
Right, which is literally denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
All of that, yeah.
Right, because there is a natural emotional cycle when you're dealing with anything. So grief, separation, divorce, being made redundant.
They're all forms of grief. They're all forms of loss, aren't they?
And also, exactly that. Right. So you just stole my thunder in an amazing way. But, right, basically what you're looking at is, emotional cycles, right? And life is full of cycles, right? It's cycle of life, cycle of addiction, cycle of grief, cycle of whatever the fuck, right? But so you will start, first of all, going, what do you mean? No, it's not happening. That's not happening. I'm not doing that. Yeah. And then you'll become angry because that person has completely front-of-face challenged you, right? And also, as a man, because you can't ignore being a man, right? We will go, so I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for you. I'm not enough, or I'm not present. And everything I've done for you is not enough, right? Okay, that's kind of natural. Yeah. But you also need to have a look at your emotional reactions to everything. Yeah. But in divorce, I tell you now, you will be further down the line in a better place if you can remove emotion that causes disruptive behaviour. And disruptive behaviour, I mean, if you focus anger on the person opposite you who is divorcing you, you are not going to get very far. No. Because every bad behavioural trait you have will come out and then will be held up in front of you and used as ammunition.
Absolutely, yeah. And very much been there, Lost my rag, didn't know the kids were in the next room, lost my rag, had to be able to sort of shout and then realised they were sitting there, felt awful. Those things happen, sadly. But I didn't really have any advice because I didn't really go to anyone that had been through it. Mm. And I guess that's why I've sort of come back with that bit of advice, is actually go to people that have been through it for advice. Don't go to your best mate who hasn't been divorced yet.
Who will then come at you thinking that aggression is the right way to go.
Yeah, it's time they need to be told whatsoever. You deserve to get this, you should have this, you should have that. Mm. And that's another thing, I guess, which is the advice you get from the wrong people. Yeah. Can be really bad.
Right. So
because it's inflammatory.
We have found on this podcast 1,000,000 times that life experience, right, is more valuable than any coaching, mentoring, which is weird because I'm a mentor, but any of that. So if you can find somebody who's been through it, who also, and this is important. If somebody's been through it and they're totally broken by it, okay, they did not cope. Yep. This was not a positive thing. It's never going to be a positive thing, but the outcome can be positive. Yep. I.e., if you get through this process and you are able to control your emotions, there's not too much damage, collateral or otherwise, right? You are able to do what you have done, which is start again and start living your life and rebuilding yourself as a human being. if you talk to somebody who's broken and everything they're saying is negative about everything, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you are, incidentally, in that space where you are negative and you can't come back out of it, please reach out and talk to somebody, because what you need is the right positive influence to help you get through that. And that's important. There are never going to be any winners in this situation.
No,
and I think true. What you said is don't, what are you going to win? A fucking goldfish? And if she gets the house, yeah, great, that's great, and it's all bad. But look, these are just things. Yeah. Look after your emotions, look after who you are, look after your integrity, because as a man, integrity is all. Yeah. And also, you said about the kids being in the next room, you know, everyone says, oh, well, if you're married, you can't argue in front of kids, you can't do this. Well, kids will become aware that in life, this stuff happens. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. I'm enamored with that whole emotional cycle thing, because every single situation, your emotional journey is the same.
It is, yeah, yeah. I mean, I went through that grief cycle as part of my counselling as I was going through my divorce and losing my dad and my mum and everything else. And you sort of looking at it and go, yeah, it doesn't really apply, does it? And then you go, oh, bloody hell, yeah, here I am. Here I am at stage 3.
Yeah, okay, so I'm really fucking angry. Yeah, well, that's hold on. So, yes, anger is number 2. Yeah. Oh, Christ, I've got a long way to go. Yeah. But also, bargaining as well is real. Yeah. Right? So when my mum died, I didn't, like, I've said, right, I was bargaining with somebody I didn't believe in. Yeah. Right? But I wasn't bargaining for her to come back. I'm not that puerile. I was bargaining that she wouldn't feel the pain that she felt here anymore. Do you know what I mean? But there was a bargaining. I was looking at God going, right, what can I do to make sure she's all right? Yeah. And then I thought, this is a bit odd. I don't believe in you. And which has changed somewhat. But I don't believe in God. Anyway, that's entirely irrelevant. But it's the same. It's that, you know, the whole bargaining thing. You're going to start going to your ex-spouse going, look, if we do this and we can do that and then blah, blah. Yeah. Or if I change, it's like, whoa. You're not going to change, because if you were going to change, you'd have done it by now. And also, incidentally, divorce as the impetus for positive change is not a good place to be in a relationship.
Let's have another child. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now that's a bit real. Children... Right. Oh, this drives me mad. I've been in situations, not me personally, but I've been involved in people's situations where they come to me and said, look, you know, if we have another child, that'll bring us together. It fucking won't. No. How do you think waking up at 3 a.m. with a crying child who hasn't slept properly in 6 months, how's that going to mend your marriage? Yeah. Also, you're not going anywhere near sex for the next 6 months, right? Or any kind of anything. So just have a little look at realities. Also, that's part of taking emotionally. That's part of taking emotion out of it. Yeah. Because if you remove some emotion, not all, because you're not a robot, you can then think rationally instead of emotionally. And I think that's real key. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Right, so you mentioned children there.
I did.
That's, obviously, if children are involved, it's a massive element of it. And... another piece of advice I'd give is to honestly put the impact on the children first.
So what does that look like?
Well, what it doesn't look like is using the children as pawns to suggest that this is best for them because it's actually better for you. Yeah. It is literally, I would even, depending on their age, I would even say consult with them, ask them what they want. Right, I don't think my daughters got what they wanted out of the divorce. I'm not saying they should have got exactly what they wanted, but they should have been considered.
Okay, what do they, when you say what they want, what are we talking about?
In terms of what they want, who do they want to live with? Do they want 2 houses? You know, do they want to live with one side or the other? Do they want shared parenting? Do they want their mum and dad to be arguing the whole time? All these things, because a lot of the time I've seen it in lots of cases of friends and colleagues that have gone through divorce. Yep. All of the grown-ups and the seniors in the family always say, "Oh, we've got to put the children first," and then people use that as a weapon. Basically, they don't actually put the children first, but they use it as a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like a badge. Oh, well, I'm putting the children first because I'm X and Y and Z, right? Whereas you're not, because you haven't even asked the children what they want.
Doesn't that self-justification just make you a bit of a prick?
It does, but it's Unfortunately, I think the legal system supports it and promotes it as well.
I can tell you this right now, right? The legal system as it is starting to recognise, that women are not always right.
Yeah.
But the legal system will always take it that it is right that the children stay with their mother.
Yeah.
I am not a legal expert, right? But I have seen plenty of situations where the mother is not capable. And clients where the divorce had to happen because the mother is the instigator of violence.
Yeah.
Now, it's a two-way street, and I am not women bashing, right? What I am saying is that the legal system, while it bends one way and not the other, is not a legal system. It's not justice. It's not balanced. What should happen is that every single divorce involving children or not should be taken on the facts of the situation.
Yep.
And also, if you're going to worry about the impact on children and what they're going to do, then don't fight against social services evaluating the situation if you're at that level. Right? Go with it. I think a lot of people, because of emotion, because of anger, and also because of, I don't know, weakness, right? So human beings have an inherent weakness. There are lots of different weaknesses, but you can't face that kind of conflict. And there's nothing wrong with that, but acknowledge the weakness, right? Acknowledge the fact, I can't deal with you. I can't deal with that level of aggression. I can't deal with this as a two-way conversation. Yeah. So then you get mediators. Yeah? Mediators are always going to have an opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think things have changed now. Mediation was enforced when I separated and was a complete and utter waste of time.
Enforced by who, by the way?
Enforced by law. You had to go through mediation before you could even approach solicitors and start divorce proceedings.
Right, and who are the mediators?
Someone provided, I guess, by counsel or whoever, I don't know.
Are they counsellors? Are they lawyers?
Honestly, don't really know.
Yeah.
But you go in there with the view that you're going to say, well, this is all of my assets, this is all of your assets, this is all of our shared assets, and they write them up on a whiteboard, and you go, well, I think it's right that we should have a 50-50 split. Well, I think it's right that we should have a 70-30 split because I want the kids, and the kids are going to live with me or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you hope that the mediators are going to go, okay, well, you think you need that, okay, you think you need that. I suggest you meet somewhere in the middle. But they don't do that. They expect you to have that conversation while you're both still angry and stuff, and therefore you end up going in there and I've heard loads of people say this, you end up going in there, all the emotion comes out, you start just having a bit of a spat about all of it, and then you walk out and everyone's upset and you don't get anywhere. And then after a while someone goes, well, this is not getting us anywhere, is it? But you sign the form to say you've been through it, but there's no outcome. There's no this is what the mediator suggests. Even.
So the mediator has no power?
No.
They've just got a whiteboard.
They've got a whiteboard. They don't even make suggestions. But they say, well, this is what you want. This is what you want. I've written it on the board for you. Okay, well, we could have done that.
I already fucking knew what I wanted.
Yeah. So this guy at work has sort of, not because of what I've said to him, but he's gone through that process, the financial process of it already, and they're actually quite pleasingly, they seem to be reaching a vague settlement already, which is not that long into their process.
But is that right? If you have the right guidance in this, i.e. somebody who's done the right thing, or it's gone so wrong that they actively went looking for the right thing and come out the other side, if you have that guidance, you're going to be in a stronger position.
Yeah.
Right? If you go in this and nobody's told you to wind it back, get used to what's going on. Also, acceptance, right, is the last thing on the emotional cycle, right? But acceptance needs to be done pretty quickly.
You need to do whatever you can to accelerate to that position, yeah. But because I think that, certainly in divorce, I think that you don't get to that point until years after even the divorce is legally finished.
But you could accept the fact that this is broken. It's not going back.
Yeah, I guess in that respect, this guy at work is there already. He said to me the other day, do you know what? We've actually been getting on better now. And he went, and part of me, I went, don't go there. He went, no. He said, oh, no, I'm not going to go there. But
a lot of people do that. And then they rekindle and then wonder why 3 months later it's all happening again.
Yeah. And he said, but we have both sort of said that. And he said, you know, they went to look at a house for his ex to move into. And the estate agent went, sorry, why are you separating? You both seem to get on really well. And it's like, well, it's none of your business. But
put that down, bitch, is what I said.
Yeah. So that, well, for me, it's a good thing that he's sort of saying that, because he's not going to carry it out. But it's good that they're in that place, right? We were never in that place.
No.
We were never in that, let's just do the right thing. But yeah, I guess all of that is coming round to do the right thing. Try to do the right thing. Don't try and pound the other person into the ground. Don't try and win. As you said, no one comes away from this as a winner. No one comes away with everything. If you're going to get separated, you've only got a certain amount of resources to go around.
Also, what are you going to win? A fucking goldfish?
Well, that's the other thing this guy said, is that he has said to his soon-to-be ex, you know, it's all going to end up going to the kids anyway, you know. So what if I stay in the house and it's a bigger house than the house that you're in, or you stay in the house and it's a bigger house that I'm in? You know, they're in their late 50s, I think. Yeah. You know, he said, I'm only going to be working for the next 5-6 years. He said, then I'm going to retire. And he said, and then we'll die and then we'll give it all to the kids anyway. So what are we arguing over? We're arguing over what the kids are going to have.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of hit home with her a little bit as well, which is quite...
I think that's a really, really useful way to look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're young and you're divorced and you've got your whole lives ahead of you, right, you're going to be a little bit more resentful, little anger, because you haven't got enough life experience to realise there might be a positive.
Yeah, and I guess this sort of applied to us, I suppose. You've sort of got time to rebuild your life. Yeah. So you want to regain all the things you've lost.
Because you did.
Yeah, I did. But I think I still suffer from that to a point where financially I'm still trying to recoup what I think in my head I've lost through the divorce. Do you know what I mean? Financially, I want to get half that lovely big house back, you know. Yeah. And that's partly what drives me to work more than I should and all that sort of stuff. So I have to really acknowledge that and wind that back a little bit and go, well, I don't need a bigger house. No. You know? I don't need what I had before. I'm actually content with what I've got. So stop and have a think about that a little bit, you know.
Also, so the big house you used to have and the big dreams that you used to have and the big things and the big push have now, they're going to change because you're older. Yeah. But also, you live in a nice house, right? Yeah. Right. I'm not talking size or anything. I'm talking about size doesn't matter, apparently. Sorry.
Tell that to a short person.
Yeah, well, I just did. Touche, Malcolm. Right. So it's not about the size of your house, the flashiness of your car, the money in your wallet. What it is about is the fact that you wake up every morning and you don't have to dread what's coming.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel like you're inadequate, because when you get up and in that house that you're in and you're paying your bills and you're okay, that's what that's about.
Yeah.
Because it's really nice to have a big house, but also I'll spin that for you, right? A friend of mine, his wife died, and then he is now trying to sell this monster of a house because he's rattling around in it. His kids are long gone, right? And so what I'm trying to say by that is if she'd have died, God forbid, 20 years earlier, he'd have been like, I've got a house, I've got this, I've got that, and it'd thing. Now he's like, I'm lonely. Yeah. And it accentuates my feelings.
Yeah.
So now, you know, and when I say to you, you've got a nice house, what I mean by that is you live in a place that has positivity. You're in a relationship, you know, with your wife and 2 cats. Yeah. And, you know, you're in a better place than you were.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's getting older or whether it's going through the divorce or whatever, but yeah, my targets and my life goals are totally different now. And they're not about getting a bigger house and getting a bigger car and having more expensive holidays and stuff. And I don't know whether divorce has taught me that, or whether just a different partner has taught me that, or whether just getting older has made me realise that. You know, it's back to episode 2, was it? Episode 3, Chris Love. You know, that point of realisation when you go, actually, it's not,
all your values change.
Yeah, it's not all about the money, is it? It's about the things. Get rid of all that stuff out of my cup and start filling it with love and positivity and friendship and all the things that really matter. So, yeah, I think that's part of my, I'll use the term again, I guess, flourishing, is coming to that realisation. And if that was prompted by divorce, well, there's a positive there.
I think any negative life experience, there is growth. And that sounds a bit vacuous.
No, right?
There is. Or fatuous. But you do grow from adversity.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got to fail to learn. It's all of that, challenging yourself. And
do you know what's wrong? And I'm going to say this like an old man. Do you know what's wrong with the people who are growing up right now?
Yes. They
don't want to have to fail to learn. They expect everything just to arrive.
Yeah.
I'm not kicking anybody, right? And I'm not throwing rocks at the next generation. I'm not that level of old person. But I'll tell you this. I have worked really fucking hard my whole life since I sorted out my bullshit to still be in the same place, right? I'm not bitter about that, right? I've paid my bills. But if you actually take a good look at what's happening to me right now, I'm behind myself. But I do have an 11-year-old son. I do have a wife. I do have a roof over my head for now, and I'm in no immediate danger of losing that. Yeah. But I do live one paycheck, to another. I don't have the thirst for money that I did.
No.
That's why I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not an importer of cocaine. I'm not a mover of anything bad, right? I'm the CEO of a charity, and I'm a mentor.
Yep.
Life coach. No. Right. At the end of this, I'm going to ask you a question, and we'll leave it to the viewers.
Okay.
So where do we go from? You've taken emotion out. Yep. You've looked at the situation, and maybe mediation. You've seen that for the fraud it is.
Yeah.
When do you get to the fact if there's no communication and all of that, and it's hanging over you? Because I know people that are having to live in the same house.
Yeah.
Until it's all sold, and one of them is being obstructive
to
the divorce, even though they were the one that instigated it.
Yeah, which is often the case, I think. Yeah.
And I just wonder, when do you get to a place you can't? However level-headed the people are, it's really difficult to not feel like you're being fucked over.
Yeah, on both sides, I think.
Yeah, and somebody's instigated the divorce proceedings, right? Usually because they're not getting what they think they deserve from this relationship, or the communication's broken down, or it's not the life they wanted.
Yeah.
But is there a point where you just have to bite the bullet and go, look, this is happening? Right? Because, if you do go through this mental, emotional cycle, right, you don't get, as I've said, to acceptance right at the end. But there must be a point where you realise, for self-preservation, this needs to happen and move along, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's potentially a way forward then for people to go through, is be aware of that cycle and be aware that the sooner you get to that acceptance bit, the better. And as I say, this guy at work, he, in terms of the acceptance of the fact that he's getting divorced, he's there, right? The acceptance of the impact of it is obviously a completely different matter. But at least he's been able to detach from it enough, and I'm by no means saying that's because of me talking to him, but I think it's helped him talk things through, and I think that's vitally important, just to have someone to talk to.
Right, hang that up just for a minute. That talking things through with somebody who's been there, who isn't going to give you vitriol and hate, they're going to give you the advice from their pragmatic experience, is important. And I think we keep coming back to that. It's like, people who've been through it, there are two types of that, right? There are the positives who've got through it and flourishing now, and the negative who aren't. Right? Yeah. So the negative who aren't, seek help, we've said that. But you're able to give this guy some calm advice, or just listen to him, because he will have his own solutions.
A lot of it, as you know from any form of counselling, a lot of it is just listening, right? So we have a little chat on Teams at work, and he just normally just waffles about what's happened over the weekend or whatever for ages. And a lot of the time he tells me stuff he told me last week, and you can tell he's just doing it to sort of decompress from it. Yeah. So one thing I must say before I forget, which is something that sort of cropped up earlier, because I've never really, until, as is often the case with these podcasts, until you sort of pose the topic or the question, I don't actually, I realise I've not ever sort of thought of that. So if the sort of underlying question is, what advice would you give to people that are about to or are going through a divorce? One thing I thought of, which I think is massive, tied up with what I said about attempting to genuinely put children first. Most people these days have got, if it's a a marriage that's got kids in it, there's more than likely you're going to have friends that have got kids at about the same age. And these days, more than likely, they'll have gone through some sort of divorce. So one thing, from a parent's perspective, I'd say if you've got friends that have been through divorce and they've got kids that obviously suffered and went through that process, talk to the kids, right, privately, and just say, look, I'm about to go through what your parents went through. Could you just give me a steer from your perspective as to the sorts of stuff that your parents cocked up completely, so that I can actually have less of an impact on my children?
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Because I think I still, I mean, people say you shouldn't carry guilt with you, whatever, but I still carry some form of upset, guilt, whatever it is, at various things that impacted my kids, and I wish I'd done some of those better.
Right.
But I think it would be good from the grown-up's perspective to hear the perspective of the kids. I've never really said to my kids, what did I do wrong? And I don't know if I ever will have that conversation. But it would be useful, I think, for parents of children to talk to my kids, for example, to say, was that a good thing? Was that a bad thing?
I think at face value, you're right about asking those questions. I think that two things may go wrong with that. The first thing would be that they don't want to be disloyal to their parents.
Yeah.
And secondly, also, when you are talking to kids about trauma and about life experience that they've lived through, you have to be very careful not to trigger.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it's totally, absolutely right. If the kids are older, right, and they're past,
I'm talking my kids. My kids are grown ups now.
Your kids are grown ups, yeah. Well,
so
that's debatable.
Yes.
No, I'm only joking.
By date of birth, they're grown ups.
Yeah, and if the kids are nearing 18 or past it, then go and ask them as adults. Look, what did your parents do wrong? Or even better still, reframe that question. If you were to go through the divorce again with your parents, what would you change?
Yeah, what would you wish your parents
put the ball in their court? And I think that's really valuable. If you're in that position to actually be able to do that, also please do ask their parents first.
Yeah, because I don't think, despite the fact I've said earlier, put the children first. I think your head, again on both sides, whether you're the divorcer or the divorcee, your head is in such a mess, and it's so difficult to not put yourself first because you're the one that's hurting and all of that stuff for whatever reason. So I don't think you're necessarily at that point thinking rationally enough to genuinely know what your children want and need, because you've not been there before, right? You don't know. I don't know what they need.
There's no rule book.
And I guess they probably spoke to their friends who'd been through divorce, and I guess they got some comfort from that.
I will say this. Every single child is completely different.
Yeah.
Right? So you may glean some insight into other people's kids, but also while you're standing there saying, I'm going to look after the interests of the kids, right? If you don't know what those interests are, you will make decisions for your child like they're still 5.
Yeah.
Because that's how you see your kids. Samuel is 11, right? I don't see him as an 11-year-old.
No.
Until I take a look at him and go, oh, okay, that's an adult response, right?
Yeah.
And my kid's pretty placid, but he's sensitive. But also, if I was getting divorced and we were in this big showdown of emotion, I'm not sure I would naturally ask him, look, mate, this is going through, what do I do? What do I do for you? Right? Because I would automatically be arrogant enough to believe I knew what he needed. And I think both parents would be that arrogant.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah. And therefore there's another bone of contention.
Yeah,
I'll tell you now, as parents, having a wife and having a wife and a husband together, bringing up one child, you speak to the wife and the husband separately about bringing up their kids and what they need. You would have two very different.
Exactly. I mean, you argue about it when you're together, let alone when you're at each other's throats. But okay, you have different opinions, let's say, them even when you're together. So when you're going through divorce and you're butting heads anyway, and someone says, "Well, I think it's best," you're immediately going to probably argue with that straight away, just on principle, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the other thing. You're going to argue on principle about every fucking thing.
Yeah, because back to the other point, because you want to win, right? And that's, again, I think, sort of natural.
I do love that phrase, what are you going to win, a fucking goldfish? I like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it shows you the puerile nature of arguments.
Yeah.
So look, also, if you're arguing about money, right, and say you're the woman, I have worked my whole life for this amount of money.
Yep.
Right? You've come in, and you've done that, and I've got to pay you this amount of money just for being there. That's the natural thing, right? The brutal fact of the matter is this woman brought up your kids, right? She deserves the respect just for that. But also, if it's going to bankrupt the man so he can't be a parent and is emasculated by it, then how is that fair? Right? So just be open to negotiation, i.e., look, if you take that much, you're going to ruin me. If you ruin me, I'm done and gone.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're on your own. There's no recourse. If we can both walk through it. I'm just really fearful of saying to people, well, you just need to be calm and take a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's such an emotive situation.
Yeah, I'm certainly not saying it's
and
easy.
also, I can't say anything because I've never been there.
Yeah.
I do worry about humans' ability to find the right solution when money is involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Money, be it in houses, be it in cars, be it in whatever. Because the whole of society is so focused on trinkets, baubles and houses and cars and fuck knows what else.
That's success, isn't it?
It is impossible. Right? I'll tell you now, right? I am 150 times more successful with who I am now than when I had money when I was 25, right? Because I had money for all the wrong reasons, right? I'm 150 times more successful in my life having to worry about every single bill that comes through the door because money is a necessity, but it is not a benchmark. It's not something I aspire to having. I aspire to not having to wake up every day going, fucking hell, how am I going to pay that?
Yeah.
Right? I'd love that. That would be amazing, right? But don't get me wrong, this is not the woe is me shot. I'm trying to make a point. You know, when you're together, right, and I want to say this to the camera, at some point, for you to be married in the first place, there must have been, if not love, because quite frankly, who knows what that is, there must have been an agreement or some kind of passion or some kind of meeting of minds for you to have gone into a relationship. Right? Love's a really useful word if you want to dismiss something, because I have no idea what love is.
No.
Right? But there was a time where I was in that pub with my now wife, and I was thinking, do you know what? I want to spend time with you. I have a bond with you. I now want to have a child with you, and it progresses.
Yeah.
Right? That progression and that understanding, right? If you let hate, and derision and division literally divide you from that person, right? Because you're hurt about it falling apart, there's no resolution for that. That doesn't mean anything. You have to try and find, right, the mediation line. Yeah. And I'm not talking about a mediator.
No.
I'm talking between the two of you. There has to be a little band of grey where you're both comfortable. Right? Remember that you love someone at some point to move into the marriage situation. Yeah. So therefore, try your hardest to not let hurt and pain guide you. Because at the end of the day, that will always steer you in the wrong direction. I'm going to look at my notes now.
Okay, you do that.
I don't make notes. Right. Tools that help you. Can you think of any tools that we can impart or suggest that would literally help you look at your behaviour and look at your traits and see how you can limit the emotional response?
I don't know. And I guess this is the problem. I'm giving out the advice, as you've just said, of you need to really try not to do that. But I'm not sure if I can advise how, really. I guess there's the generic stuff that gets recommended of breath work and all that stuff, keep your heart rate balanced and all those sorts of things.
Does that ever address emotional response? Does it ever show cycles of reaction, interaction?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you what you need to do. In my theory.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, first of all, right, and everyone's going to go, but journaling, right? See? Right. If you don't write your life story, but every time you have an emotional response, you write down what triggered it.
Yeah.
Okay? You are then present for your emotions.
Yeah.
Right? Now, whether that's the day after when you read it or when you're writing it, but if you are present for your emotion, whatever that emotion is, you can hold it out in front of you and go, okay, that's not where I need to be.
Yeah, I've started journaling in the last week or two, actually. So
right.
having gone at it a lot in the past. So
yeah,
it
I am in a position now where I have one-to-one clients who come to me for situational mentoring. I'm not a counsellor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not somebody who has to hide behind any, little certificates. Mm-hmm. I do have, qualifications, and I am a recovery worker. I'll tell you now, the most useful tool for anything is to look at your emotions and see what triggers them.
Yep.
And write it down, because you won't remember. Because in a fit of anger, you're going to cloud your memories, and you're not going to remember. All you're going to remember is, I'm angry at you. Yeah. I'm angry at that. I'm angry at them. I fucking hate that dog. It keeps peeing on my carpet. Even that. So look, write it down. But don't get into the life story thing, right? You already know your life story because you're living it.
Yeah.
Write down the triggers. Write down your responses. Write down when you feel you are not reacting the right way to a situation. And do you know what that does? That breaks cycles, because you can look at it. And I think that, my friends, is really important.
Yeah.
And it works. And I'll tell you it works, because I've done it. My clients, as you know, are doing it where it's appropriate. It's not a catch-all, right? But any situation that is negative or even positive, you write down your response to that situation, and then go back to it the next day and go, okay, I've calmed down. Let's look at this without emotion. Okay, so I was really angry because she said that. Why was I angry? Because it challenged my manhood.
Yeah.
It challenged my beliefs. It made me feel small.
Yeah.
And then you can go, okay, am I small? Do I need that? Am I, I'm talking metaphorically before you start. It's, the biggest man in the world can be belittled by anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And it's only if you are emotionally inept, somebody who cannot control their emotions. It's only if you are in a situation where you can't deal with what's being given to you.
Yeah.
So therefore, write it down. And then you can look at it in the calm light of day and understand why you can't deal with it and change it.
Yeah, and you realise it isn't the words that were said that caused the problem, is it?
It's your reaction
all of the other stuff
to the triggers. It's all the baggage you're carrying behind.
Yeah, we've got plenty of.
Okay. Presumably we're coming to the end of quite a long show, because George is looking at me tapping his watch. He's not, actually, I just made that. He's looking at the thing. He's very calm, George. Okay, look. I don't want you to leave this podcast thinking that your broken life, i.e. your divorce, means that it's broken you, right? That does not equal the same. So look, your life may have broken, your life's pinnacle that you might have seen last week will change to a different pinnacle, moving in transient nature with your own life, right? So just because your situation is broken and is not your ideal does not mean that you can't come back. Yeah? It's very important that whatever situation you're in, be it a heroin addict, a divorced male, a divorced female, somebody who's lost somebody, you can always come back. And if there's ever living proof of that, he is for divorce, I am from drug addiction, right? It's that simple. 16 years ago, I was a hopeless drug addict. Right now, I'm sat in front of a camera telling you how to live your life. How arrogant am I? Right. Is there anything that you burningly need to say?
I don't think so. No, I'm just trying to scan my list casually, but I don't think there's anything there. No, I think I've covered every key point.
Okay, I would like you to leave. No, I would like to leave you.
I'd like to leave. I'll be off.
I would like to leave. Goodbye. I'd like to leave you with this. Okay, it's really okay to miss the person you're divorcing. Right? But it's also important to know that leaving and the separation was the right thing. Don't use your kids as tools. Don't ever use your children as pawns. Look after yourselves. And if you are in a position, as ever, that you need to talk, reach out to someone. I want to leave this podcast with a question.
Oh, and am I answering it, or are you just going to...
Okay, you're answering it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So are you. And I want comments, okay? I want comments. I am now actually a mentor. I have distortion mentoring as a business to help people. have I turned into a fucking life coach?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I hate life coaches, right? Yeah. And I'm a little worried, but I actually called myself a life coach on this podcast.
You did, yeah.
Just that, which... Yeah.
You did correct yourself very much quickly, straight away, though. So I think we'll leave it in the hands of the audience then.
In the doobly underneath, write a comment. Mentor, life coach. Tell me which one I am. I'm coming for you if you say the wrong thing, right? All right, 15 Coping. We'll see you next time.